maybe he won't be.
Good to see you. Good Shabbos.
Interesting. Huh?
We can wait another minute, but do come on in. That's really loud. I'm sure everybody can hear. Do come on in. We're happy to see everyone. I'm going to turn off the ringer on my phone. Others might like to do similar things. So welcome to our annual Brotherhood Shabbat. Beth-El Brotherhood not only cooks for special occasions, but does all kinds of good things, Holy Day, or ushering, and all kinds of things, scholarships for Beth-El. So we are very happy to be able to honor some members of the Brotherhood with helping to lead this service. And while I am welcoming them and anyone else who has come, happy to see you, let me say a special welcome to those who may be watching on a television screen or a computer screen, because we are streaming the service. There are places around the Metroplex and the country where they canceled services for fear of the coronavirus, but it's nice to know, for those who are out there already, and even for those who are here, that if things get to where you are nervous about it, that's fine. You can still worship. You can still know what's going on at the temple, because we stream every week. We've always been doing it. We want as many people as possible to participate. So if you are one of the Brotherhood members who is helping to lead our service, you needn't wait to be called up. We're ready for service part number 3. Just, come up as the previous part is concluding. And if you're a minute late early, or we'll have you sit down for a moment. But we are going to begin on page 2. We've already done candles and kiddush in the gathering area. So whoever has part 2, please begin.
Good evening, everyone. God, how can we know you? Where can we find you? You're as close to us as breathing, yet you're further than the farthermost star. You are as mysterious as the vast solitudes of night, yet you're as familiar to us as the light of the sun. To Moses you said, "You cannot see my face, but I will make all my goodness pass before us in the realm of nature and in the joys and sorrows of life." Together, please. When justice burns within us like a flaming fire, when love evokes willing sacrifice from us, when to the last full measure of selfless devotion we demonstrate our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness, then your goodness enters our lives and we can begin to change the world, and then you live within our hearts, and we through righteousness behold your presence.
bottom of page 3. Rabbi Chaim of Science used to tell this parable. A man wandering lost in the forest for several days finally encountered another. He called out, "Brother, show me the way out of the forest." The man replied, "Brother, I too am lost. I can only tell you this. The ways I have tried lead nowhere. They have only led me astray. Take my hand and let us search for the way together." Rabbi Chaim would add, "So it is with us when we go our separate ways, we may go astray. Let us join hands and look for the way together."
Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
We read responsively on page 4. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On the Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On the Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On the Shabbat, we are reminded that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. Therefore, we welcome Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace.
And as we welcome Shabbat, we're going to sing Lecha Dodi, welcoming the Sabbath bride. And when we get to the bottom verse there, we're going to stand and face the rear, and maybe she'll just be visible walking in. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekavela. Shamur v'zachur b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, Ushemo echad, L'shem ultiferet v'lid hila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nilcha, ki mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof Moshe b'machshava techila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorari, hitorari, Kiva urech kumi ori, uri, uri, shir daberi, Kevod Adonai alayich nigla, Lecha dodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela, boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzohala, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, panei Shabbat nekabela. You may remain standing because Chatzi Kaddish is on page 6. Together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba, b'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, bagala uvizman kariv v'yimeru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach li'olam u'li'olmei homaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shamei dekudsha barichu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma v'yimeru.
We're already standing for the Baruch Hu, on the top of page 7. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Blessed Adonai, the Blessed One. Blessed is Adonai, Blessed One forever and ever. Baruch at Adonai ad mevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'davro ma'ariv avarim. There was a silence. There was chaos. There was a voice. A mind went forth to form worlds. Now order reigns where chaos once held sway. The Lord makes evening fall. The law brings on the dawn. The moon follows accustomed paths, the constellations their patterned ways. Sovereign is that will that orders the stars in their courses in the endless sky. Sovereign is that will.
We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Eternal One is our God, the Eternal One, Allah. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated.
The path to the love of God is through the love of others. I do not love God until I love my neighbor as myself. Jewish faith unites mind and heart. Even as my mind seeks to understand life's meaning, so may my life show love for all created things. We do not teach our children by words alone. May I make my life and actions into good teachings, for in my conduct I must exemplify Torah. Let my home aglow with the beauty of our heritage. Let my doors be open wide to wisdom and to righteousness. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol moyodecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavrecha hayom al vevavecha. V'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'devecha v'zleftecha b'derech v'shavcha b'ulemecha. V'shartam leot al yadecha v'hayu l'tetofot beinenecha. Uvchavtavham al mezuzot betecha uvisharecha. Laman sukru v'asimtem kol mitzvotai. V'chritem kedoshim leile lochim lechem asher totzite etchem eretz Mitzrayim. Lihiot elachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Love Adonai your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at home and at work, whether you are tired or you're rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God.
My son, if you will receive my words and treasure my commandments, so that you incline your ears to wisdom and apply your heart to understanding. Indeed, if you cry after knowledge and lift up your voice for understanding, if you seek her like silver and search for her for hidden treasures, then shall you understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. We come, oh, sing, me come alive, be like this, nor a hilo, o se fele, ma tilo, no se fele, malkotaka, ra now makeka, bokea yamla. Neshe Moshe Zahilam, Zeyanim Adonai Imloch, Adonai Imloch, Leilom Vaed. On the day when our ancestors stood before God in the wilderness, his words came before them and captured their hearts. This day, all of you, for the God of the eternal, to enter into his covenant. Was a covenant of life for them and their descendants. See, I have set before you this day life of good, death, and evil. This day I command you to love the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, to keep his mitzvot. It is in God's power to command us, and ours to reject him. But if you listen, I tell you this day that you will surely perish. Therefore have I set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Choose life, then, that you and your children may live. We will choose life. We'll hold fast to the covenant that brings life.
Ashkavenu Adonai Eloheinu, grant that we may lie down in peace, eternal God, and raise us up, O sovereign of life renewed. Spread over us the sheltering sukkah of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake, be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war and famine and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil, O God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful sovereign. Give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. O guard our coming and our going, that now and always we have life and peace. Praise you, O God. Shelter us, spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית העולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית העולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית העולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית העולם. Thank you. At this point in our service, we're going to pause and remember all who are ill in our community and beyond. So obviously anyone suffering from coronavirus, I don't know of any Beth-El members yet, but it'll happen. And here and around the world, anyone who is suffering from that. But there are all kinds of ailments that lots of people have. So here's a list that's in your program of people we know of in the congregation at the moment who could use a prayer. And then if you've got some names to add, we'll do that. Annette Dover, Charlotte Fiwus, Stacy Lewis, Jeffrey Mark, Pauline Wittenberg, Maria Khan, Graham Baker, Elliot Blumberg, Katrina Joy Rogers, Eddie Sankary, Debbie Friedman, Claire Brunhild, Mike Fox, Ann Westerman, William Westerman, Bill Feld, Bernice Etkoff, Robert Bugan, Ellen Alcon, Christopher Long, Brandon Levy, Leslie Arnov, Ellen Mack, and Ted Mack. And who else would we like to add?
Nelson.
Thank you. Just say them out. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Did you have another? No, we got everybody. Okay. May all of those individuals and whoever else might need our prayers, even some of us here, you never know refuah shalema, full healing from God. Please join in. Mi sheberach avoteinu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Please rise for the tefillah. Together, Adonai tzifatai tifat uviagida hilotecha. Adonai, open up our lips so our mouths may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ho'el Hagadol, Hagibor, V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher HaZeavot, V'Imahot, U'Mevi Gula, V'nei V'neihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Each generation has its path, each a vision of its own, yet each is linked to all. Their origin and goal are one. Our mothers and fathers kindled light to lead us to the day of shining hope, with mercy our companions along the way. Recalling the generations, we weave our lives into tradition. Praise be the source of strength and courage, the source of kindness and good deeds. Praise be the source of gentleness and love, of softness, kind words. Praise be the man who transcends strength through gentleness. Praise be the woman who perfects gentleness through strength. Praise be the person who acts according to the best that is within. Praise be the person who reaches out to touch the best in others. Praise be the gentle faithfulness of Abraham and the valiant strength of Sarah. Honor to the generations of Israel, our people. All honor to those who illuminate our paths. Umachei ha'im bechesed, mikayei ha'kol b'rakabim rabin, somei aknofim u'rofei kolim, umafir asurim, umakayei emunato l'shenei afar, mikamocha ba'gevuro, Umido melach, melech mimi, umachayeya, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'nemar tzakol hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekayet Hakol. You may be seated.
The Hasidim tell the story of the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov would go into the woods, light a sacred fire, and pray to find an answer to a particularly weighty problem. In this way, he found insight to his dilemma. His successor would go to the same place in the woods and say, "We no longer remember how to light the fire, but we can still say the prayer." That sufficed, and he also found his answer. His successor would go to the same place in the woods, but could not light the fire or remember the prayer, and said, "That will have to suffice," and it did. In the fourth generation, the rabbi stayed home and said, "The fire we can no longer light, the prayer we no longer know, nor do remember the place. All we can do is tell the tale, and that too proves sufficient." What happens when the tale itself is no longer told? What happens when we no longer have storytellers to tell the tales? The faces and the tactics of the leaders may change every 4 years, or 2, or 1, but the people go on forever. The people, beaten down today, yet rising tomorrow, losing their road in 1 minute, but finding it the next, their eyes always fixed on a star of true brotherhood, equality, and dignity. The people are real guardians of our hope and our dreams. Read this together, please. Happy is the one who has not followed the counsel of the wicked, or taken the path of sinners, or joined the company of insolent. Rather, the teaching of the Lord is his delight, and he studies that teaching day and night. He is like a tree planted beside streams of water, which yields fruit in its season, whose foliage never fades, and whatever it produces thrives. Not so the wicked. Rather, they are like chaff that wind blows away. Therefore, the wicked will not survive judgment, nor will the sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord cherishes the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked is doomed.
This service came to us from National Brotherhood, and National Brotherhood does all kinds of other good things, including the Chautauqua Society does outreach to university campuses, putting Jewish scholars, if not permanently sometimes, in lots of places for quick lectureships to put a Jewish presence on campuses all over. I went out to West Texas for them once. It was quite an experience. But in any event, they do all kinds of good work. So this meditation, or whatever comes to your heart, we pray silently for a moment. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Late this morning, I returned from officiating at a funeral and found 3 messages about people seriously ill, a couple of them in hospitals, and then found myself involved in a series of texts and emails and phone calls about whether or not, with the coronavirus worries, we should hold this service, which obviously we decided to go ahead and do. Anyone nervous about being out in public could stay home and even watch us online. I later updated Rabbi Zimmerman, who's off showing his daughter colleges, which must be quite an experience this particular week as well. And I was tempted to tell him as I finished saying this one is sick and that one is sick and the funeral went fine and so on and so forth, don't worry, everything's under control. Except that it struck me as I started to type that the real message of the whole, conglomeration of things is that actually nothing is under control, or at least not under our control, this week or any other. We can and should take reasonable steps to take care of ourselves and one another, but we're not in charge. God is. Some 27 centuries ago, the prophet Isaiah, during a desperate time for the Jewish people, reported that God had a message for them. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, says the prophet. Comfort, oh, comfort my people. And specifically, where mortality is concerned, you may recognize these words. All flesh is grass, all its goodness like the flowers of the field. Grass withers, the flower fades when a breath of the Lord blows on them. Indeed, man is but grass. Grass withers, flowers fade, but the word of our God is always fulfilled. Should you and I be frightened this week? Or any other? I cannot promise you that any one of us will definitely survive when the coronavirus gets here. It's probably here already, but when it suddenly builds up. But then I cannot promise any one of us that we'll get up tomorrow morning. And that's true all the time. And we don't let that worry us all that much because we probably will get up in the morning. So we leave that in God's hands. There are a bunch of references, if you think about it, in the Hebrew Bible about plagues. God, it says, sent plagues against the Egyptians when they weren't allowing the Hebrews to go free. The Jewish people, us, suffered a plague in the wilderness. It was just a week or two ago in the Torah, because we were building a golden calf when Moses delayed coming down the mountain. There are lots of such stories of plagues used as punishments. But this is an age of science, right? We don't really feel like we're being punished for our sins. I'm sure somebody has said that somewhere, but more likely a fundamentalist of some sort, not a modern Jew. This isn't punishment for anyone's sins. We know a lot more than our ancestors did about how the world works. Primitive forms of life like the virus, the Wuhan flu, or whatever else you might want to call it, have been evolving for millions of years, since before Homo sapiens started evolving ourselves. And we and our immune systems, happily, continue to evolve as well whenever there's a new challenge to them. A new virus appears, our immune systems individually hit them with everything that we have, and if that doesn't work, they start experimenting to see what else might. In a more conscious way, certainly, modern societies can begin research to determine how this or that virus or other challenge spreads and what might help stop it. In a cultural way, we can go to work on medicines and treatments. The ancients could only pray, which helps. We can pray too. strengthens our spiritual defenses. But we can also go into our labs and cancel or postpone some events to slow the spread of a disease. The likes of the coronavirus are not going to be the end of us in the way that our ancestors in Jerusalem feared the Babylonian invasion was going to be the end not only of their temple, but of the Jewish people. But we're still here. Modern science tells us that we have two ways of handling threats such as this new virus. To distinguish them, psychologists call one fear and the other anxiety. In different circumstances, each can be appropriate, while the other becomes counterproductive. Fear, technically, they say, is what you feel when somebody suddenly lunges at you with a knife and you're going to do something right now without thinking about it. You just do. Fight or flight, freeze, whatever. With an immediate danger, such unthinking knee-jerk reaction has survival value. But those tactics won't work if it's not right on you right this second. The second one is anxiety. And that, though also emotional, arises when you realize that you may be in a dangerous situation like we are now. Should you walk home alone at night through a bad neighborhood? What should you do before you go back to that area of the garden where that snake was hissing and rattling at you a couple of days ago? The pandemic has gotten to town and a lot of people are coughing. Should you go to the football game? Should you go out and buy some hand sanitizer? You have time to process, to think about what may actually help and what may not. But here is a problem that I think we uniquely as contemporaries have that they never dreamed of in biblical times or over the ages. We have a 24-hour news cycle in which every TV show and radio host and newspaper and on and on and on, rabbi, everybody feels like they've got to say something on the topic that's on everyone's mind. And they just fill our heads with it constantly, and we get worked up into a panic. It happens again and again and again. Anxiety protective measures make sense for individuals or cities or whole nations. We're never going to stop totally the spread of something that is essentially an extraordinarily contagious cold or flu-like disease. China got going too slow and paid the price in tens of thousands of casualties. But that's tens of thousands out of well over 1,300 million people. Statistically, that's minor. Unless, of course, it's you or me. Then it's not so minor anymore. But what are we going to do? We're all going to die, is not a helpful response. When the Black Death hit Europe in the 14th century, it wiped out half the population, literally. We are not there. They didn't know what was causing it. So many blamed Jews, incidentally. We're not there either, thank God. What we need are thoughtful, anxiety-motivated strategies. There is more to know that is comforting. However, best guess of the experts is that even if masses and masses of people get it, 80% of us will feel like we had a cold. Not such a big deal. And another 15 or even 17 or 18% of us will feel like they've got the flu. No fun, but we've all been there and survived. So get medical help. In today's New York Times, Thomas P. Bossert, a former Homeland Security advisor, warns that we obviously need to take this seriously. As many as 500,000 Americans could die. So I'm not saying, oh, relax, this is no big deal. It's a big deal. But remember that there are 320 million plus Americans. And my calculator says if that many died out of 320 million, that's about 1.6%. So for 98% of us, this is going to turn out to be a bad memory and not good for your stock portfolio. Well, that'll come back to. We retirees have a little more to worry about. Children, it seems, have a little less to worry about. And I'm glad at least that it's not the opposite. The kids are the ones who are not getting too sick, by and large. I know I won't live forever anyway. Thank God we have modern medicine and understanding of hygiene. Most of us, really, most of us are going to come out all right. So relax a little. We are blessed to live in the modern age when our faith can help us to both savor the beauties of life on the one hand and take care and do outreach to the stricken from this natural disaster on the other hand. Plagues are challenging. They are anxiety producing, and that's a positive thing if it helps us get through it. Yet they're not punishments from God, but part of the natural order. Nachamu, nachamu, ami. Take comfort, my people. We will get through this. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May such be God's will. Amen. We are going to continue in a moment on page 17, and while our next reader comes forward, let me again thank the Brotherhood. This has gone very smoothly. It's been very nicely read, and thanks especially to Russ Schultz, our chair, who really got this together so smoothly. Please rise.
Please rise for Olenu. Olenu v'shafeach ladon hakol lateit gedula liyotzer bereshit shelo asanu kagei ha'aratzot velo samanu kamishpachot ha'adama shelo sam kelkeinu kahem v'goralenu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, our soul profound enough to cover the earth. Loved, each of us, for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and grave despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
The Kaddish, of course, is there at the end on page 18. And before we read it, I want to make note of those who have died in the past 30 days. Harriet Lurie, Burton Gilbert, Audrey Weiser Hartwell, Cecile Mankin Price, and, funeral just today, Dean Schreier. Zichronam livracha. All of their memories truly are a blessing. And then we have loved ones whom we are remembering at this season. Bernard T. Baum, Otto Berlin, Max Bloomberg, Cecilia Bressert, David Brown, Helen Bostic, Ned Kovitt, David Dorfman, Cecile Weinschenker Echt, Samuel I. Fenton, Monia Rothschild Friedberg, Adeline Friedman, Robert Goldblum, Celia Goldstucker, Isaac Harris, Marjorie Lemaire, Julian Lerner, Louise Lipschitz, Herman Mann, Frank Marechka, Jeremy Moss, Frank Murrah, David Ross, Genevieve Sankary, Rose Schloss, Jean Schneeweiss, Kathy T. Schuler, Frank Schweeder, Emmanuel A. Siegel, Samuela Freilich Simon, Henry E. Sloter, Bennett Smith, Betty Mae Stein, David L. Toby, Pearl Joseph Whalen, Morton Wasserman, Shirley Wasserman, Bertha Weinbaum, Joseph Weinberg, Julian Lerner, Cecile Mankin Price, June Britton, Howard Britton. All of their memories, once again, truly are blessings, and praising God for them and for the gift of life, which we aren't taking for granted these days. We truly say in our hearts, Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mavarach la'alam u'la'olmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, Huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God, who makes peace on high, bring peace to all who suffer in our realm, and we say, Amen.
Please be seated. A meditation. Once the Emperor Hadrian was walking along the road near Tiberias in Galilee, and he saw an old man working the soil to plant some fig trees. "If you had worked in your early years, old man," he said, "you would not have had to work now so late in your life." "I have worked both early and late," the old man answered, "and what pleased the Lord he has done with me." "How old are you?" asked Hadrian. 100 years old, the man answered. 100 years old, and you still stand there breaking the soil to plant trees, said Hadrian. "Do you expect to eat the fruit of these trees?" "If I am worthy, I will eat," said the old man. "But if not, as my father worked for me, I will work for the next generation." Now, before we turn to the closing song, like our president, I'm going to go off script briefly. The closing song is Salam. I'm not going to subject you to my singing voice alone. This is supposed to be Brotherhood Shabbat weekend. We were going to honor, and we will still honor, at our Mickey Goldman dinner, a woman who's worked very diligently for the temple, Linda Hoffman, who wonderfully is sitting on the front row. Linda, in addition to her many other fabulous things she does, she is one of our cantoral soloists. So I'm going to implore, beg, request you to come forward and join me in leading the congregation, and Rabbi, you as well, because your voice is certainly better than mine, for singing Salam, and I don't know the arrangement anyway. So Linda, since you are the person of the hour for the Mickey Goldman Award, and it'll be presented, I'm sure, at some point. Please lead us in our closing.
Please rise and join us, and then stay up for a closing benediction. You ready?
Together.
Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. And again, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. May God smile upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God smile upon you and upon us all, and may we say, Amen. Amen. And Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi. No handshaking.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed your sermon. Hope
Thank you.
For people who don't know, I don't know how soon it takes